I love mixing colour combinations together, and colour blocking is a really fun way to use those combinations, and today I have 5 card examples to share with you. Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper, and I'm here with the Penny Black Gimme 5 video today, and we're going to be doing some colour blocking, which is pairing 2 or 3 totally different colours together and making a bold statement with them. I had such fun choosing these 3 colours, and I got some matching distress inks which I thought worked really well, and I just chose my colours by holding them up against each other. If you're not sure what colours you are wanting to use, head to Pinterest or Google colour combinations, especially if you've got a colour that you like. Pop that in the search bar and say colour combinations using teal and see what comes up. It's amazing. So I thought I'd start here with one of the most easiest of colour blocking ideas, and I've just got a piece of the cardstock, each of the coloured cardstocks, cut them down, and I've just literally created 3 blocks of colour using those 3 different cardstocks on the front of my card. I could have cut them to size initially and then stuck them on. I find it easier to actually stick them on and then cut around the edge, but you could certainly do it either way. I want to add a couple of little elements to the front of this card. I am going to be making very clean and simple cards here today, and I've die cut this frame. It's from the Love to Travel set, and it's got the word hello embedded in the frame, and I've popped it up here on some foam, some fun foam, using some matte medium. I do let that dry just a little bit before I take it out of the fun foam, and then I'm adding a little bird which is from the Peaceful Time set, and I did cut that out with the coordinating die, popped that up on the front of the card and added a couple of enamel dots. And these 3 colours together make me really happy, but I'm going to show you a couple of other ways to use them yet. But first I am going to be using those leftover scraps of paper or cardstock that I had. Now I'm using the From the Garden stamp set, which is some beautiful floral vases, and I'm white heat embossing 3 of the images over the 3 panels. I was initially going to cut some squares and put those along the front of a card, but it just, I don't know, I liked having the vase on the card. I liked having the different levels of colour blocking, and that's the good thing, you can do whatever you like. So if you have a nice sort of floral image, or even a pattern, a geometric pattern would look amazing, and you could just repeat that over the front of the card, and you can do it in squares, rectangles, or like I'm doing here, changing it up a little bit and staggering my actual colour blocking pieces. Again, I'm just going to cut the portion off the edge of the card like I did before. I just tip it over and use some long straight scissors to do that. I'm adding a sentiment here, which is from the Huggable stamp set. I've cut that down, and I am going to pop that up on the front of my design, and I do add some sparkling clear sequins this time, so I kept it very simple. Now we're going to change it up a bit, and this time we're colour blocking by blending colours together within a masked out area. I've got a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. It's cut the same as the front of my card, and I'm using some post-it note tape and creating a rectangle on the front of the card, and I'm adding the colours. I thought it'd look really nice if I used the lightest colour at the top and then blend down to the darkest. So these are some distress inks which match my cardstock. I'm using the Fossilized Amber first, and then I move along to the Peacock Feathers, and then finally the Faded Jeans. Now this is the darkest blue that I own in distress inks, so if I had had a darker colour I probably would have used it. It took me quite a bit of work even to get it that dark. And this is my favourite bit, the big reveal. Look at that. And you can just imagine that the possibilities for this particular technique are endless. If you've got a die, you can die cut a piece of masking paper and actually make it a shape in the background. You could just freehand cut something. do whatever you like, use whatever colours you like. And then what I did here was actually add a black and white stamped image, and this is the Crimson Blush Rose. It's just beautiful, and I thought this would make a beautiful sympathy card. So I have added There Are No Words. It's just a small sentiment from the Million Thanks stamp set, as well as a few jewels to the front of this. But you could actually stamp whatever you like over top. I could even picture this stamped with a critter or an image over top, or even sort of a fun, cartoony style image. You could do anything, or a pattern, geometric pattern. And now this next design is very similar in the way that it looks, but it's created differently. I'm going to add the colours together on one of my stamping blocks, so it's just an acrylic block. I'm adding the colours directly to the block and doing them in the same order. So I've got the fossilized amber at the top, then the peacock feathers, and then finally the faded jeans at the very bottom. And what I'm going to do here is spritz it with some water. So I'm going to create my colour blocking. It's going to look like another block of colour again, and then I'm just going to stamp these colours, and they're going to mix together as I stamp them on the block. And this is onto my Bristol Smooth cardstock again, because there is quite a bit of water here, and even though the Bristol Smooth isn't watercolour cardstock, it does tolerate quite a bit of water. Now this is where you do have to be a little bit careful in what colours you choose to mix together, because it could very easily become mud. So if you've got colours that aren't going to mix well together, then do them separately. So you could certainly block stamp the first section, wait for it to dry, and that's what I did on here. I just actually waited for it to dry before I added the second layer of the faded jeans and peacock feathers, and that way the colours aren't going to mix quite so much if they're already dry. They will mix a little bit, but they won't be quite so bad. But it's a piece of paper. We could start again. I've used that beautiful swan here from the Animal Wisdom set and added a sentiment from the same set, stamped it directly on my card front. I did notice there was a little bit of a weird spot happening on the back of the swan. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, I could have put a sequin, but I just decided to use a matching coloured pencil just to fill in the gap. And now onto my final card design, and probably the easiest technique today and fastest. I've got a piece of Nina cardstock. It's £80, and I'm literally just swiping the ink over the front of the card. I've only done the two colours here today because they're quite a wide ink pad. If I had the mini ink pads, I probably would have used a lot, just used the width of the mini ink pad. That would have been fun too. And I'm using another one of the Animal Wisdom stamps. This is a deer, and then I just popped up a sentiment from the same set on the front and just added this to the front of a side fold card. It's a really simple and quick design. I think this would be really good for a masculine card design, and you could certainly do this with like a floral image, or even I can imagine even like a cute hedgehog would be cool on here. Especially the new style hedgehogs that Penny Black have. They would look really fun running across the front of this card. Alright, so I hope you've had some fun here today. I have all the links to the products, to my blog. You can see lots of pictures. Will all be in the description below. I want to say thank you for joining me here today, and if you liked the video, please click on the thumbs up button to let us know that you did, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.